Hi everyone, I'm Joan Nehall and I'm here to talk to you about the tragedy that occurred recently. On May the 20th, the world watched in horror as yet another black man was murdered in America. In the midst of a deep collective grief and outrage, people are experiencing loss of faith in leaders and an overall hopelessness and frustration. This unwarranted show of violence toward a black American accentuates the inequality latent within the system. This is the group that has suffered more fatal deaths. Yes, I did say more fatal deaths due to COVID-19, who have trouble affording health care and suffer from obesity, diabetes, and asthma in disproportionate and unacceptable numbers. Racism, whether conscious or unconscious and institutionalized, leads to mental problems such as depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, and substance abuse. These issues of inequality were on a simmer a long time before this pandemic and are now being magnified dramatically, and people's responses are equally amplified. We see in the streets, not just in the United States, but also in France, Britain, Germany, Denmark, Brazil, Mexico, and many other places. What we're seeing there is a testament to the deep recognition in the collective consciousness of society that this systemic injustice cannot and will not be ignored anymore. What do we do in a situation like this? We all have the human urge to do something with our feelings of grief and anger. We heed the call to justice. This is a good thing. It shines a light on the magnificence of our own humanity. But how do we demand justice? This is the question. There are two different paths. One leads to further destruction and angst and does absolutely nothing for the psyche of our society. The other path, however, leads to understanding, healing, and ultimately to the kind of transformation that has been waiting to happen for centuries. Safety, equality, respect. The amazing thing about this path is that each step also feeds our own individual happiness, while we contribute to the greater good of humanity. It's important to look at what George Floyd's brother suggested yesterday. Let's look at the situation constructively and resolve the underlying causes which have been there since slavery. It's not just the Black American, but all visible minorities who fall under the microscope. I can feel myself reeling with shock and disgust. And I'm the first to say that I don't have all the facts, but based on what I do know, we need dramatic change within our judicial system. We need a change in legislation, and we need everyone to be on the same page to make this happen. All of us. Scandinavian countries are rated as the happiest countries in the world. Did you know that? Do you know why? One of the major reasons is that the Finns and Norwegians believe that the political and social systems are egalitarian and that they are there to serve and protect everyone. They can trust the police. They perceive that when they say something, their voices are heard, changes are implemented. Equality and respect are woven into the fabric of their society. If we can take a page out of their books and attempt to develop a system in which we take time to hear each other, respect each other, and imagine life in each other's shoes, that's the only way we can stop the raging fires of oppression and civil unrest. Until each of us individually makes this a way of life, there will be a knee on the neck of humanity that strangles the expression of who it is we really are and all that we are meant to be. The Greeks have a word, eudaimonia. I love that word. It means happiness or flourishing. We have a chance here, amidst the sickness, the uncertainty, the violence, and the rage, to find happiness and a more meaningful life. It may sound crazy, but it's true. It's what Viktor Frankl called tragic optimism, humanity's ability to find meaning in the face of atrocities. He was in a concentration camp at the time, writing about this. And we can experience that concentration camp right now. But we can develop that tragic optimism we talked about, can't we? We can also develop a post-traumatic eudaimonia, a post-pandemic way of life in which we create happiness through social justice, sharing and seeking rights for everyone. I think in this way we start moving beyond the individualistic culture, which historically has never led to success and has always led to the demise of humankind. Remember World War II? And we can move towards the evolution of a global identity. Charles Darwin is known for his term, survival of the fittest. What you don't know is he also talked about societies flourishing if they were kind to each other. What I talk about is survival of the kindest. That kindness helps us to survive through tough times and thrive after they're over. Our history shows this. Over and over again, Dr. Martin Luther King keeps coming to my mind. He created powerful change and demanded that it be done peacefully. He spoke with vision, kindness, and compassion. And his words are held in the highest esteem and used as models to this very day. The choice is yours, the choice is mine. Are we going to respond with anger and violence now? Are we going to match violence with aggression? Or can we move beyond that towards what Martin Luther King strove for? Towards what Nelson Mandela and Mahatma Gandhi and earlier Mother Teresa represented? Namely, a movement towards global interdependence, a global identity, the psychology of joy. It's easy to jump on a bandwagon and to be swept away by the emotions of the moment. They're contagious, did you know that? Panic, anger, mass hysteria. It's harder, much harder to step back and ask yourself, just as I've had to ask myself, what kind of life, what kind of legacy do I want to leave behind? And how am I living it out right now in my own ways? Think about it. How can we move towards a new way of being individually, not only with legislation, so that racism, with its deleterious mental consequences, can be exterminated like termites? What choices can I make? What do I need to change? Take faith and hope in the fact that our social conscience is growing even though we're stretched to the limit. This is obvious out there. It's like music to my soul. This can lead to a post-pandemic global identity based on interdependency. Let's be mindful and respectful. There's something that worries me that isn't getting media coverage at all. That this atrocity will create something which we call in psychology vicarious traumatization. We're empathic human beings. We tend to absorb other people's pain. It affects us in ways we don't even know consciously. That's a real danger for people watching this pain and angst every day. And just one more reason to look for healing and to do something constructive. People are burning things, but they feel burnt out. People are screaming, but they don't feel heard. People are running and jumping everywhere, but they still feel paralyzed. paralysis of will. We can't choose that path. It leads us nowhere good. On the other hand, after the looting and violence, volunteers in many cities have gone out with their own cleaning supplies in the midst of a pandemic to sweep up broken glass, scrape off graffiti, and fix what is broken. How healing is that? The symbolism in this is very important. Very, very important. We are working to repair the damage. We are looking to come together. We are trying to find meaning in all of this. So keep breathing. In this situation and in every situation, decide which path you want to take. Further pain or healing. Do you remember the words? Revenge is a dish that's best eaten cold. So how about savoring the good moments? Find a moment of pleasure or happiness in the morning. For me, it's an espresso and a moment to think about the things that we're grateful for. Grateful for those volunteers this morning. Grateful for the people who had the courage to stand up. Medical practitioners are learning the science of awe. When we teach them awe, they are amazed to find joy in nature, to find something beautiful directly in front of us. We can do the same. We can savor the moment. We can be grateful that we're alive and ask what we can do today to bring more meaning into our lives and those of others. Do this every day and let me know what happens, will you? Take time to listen to someone in need. Practice our acts of giving and kindness. These are extremely healing and nurturing for the giver and the receiver. It brings happiness and meaning. It's an immediate return on your investment. Find happiness in all that's happening right now. Can you do that? I believe you can. Our collective consciousness is reaching for this, yearning for it, and with our help, we'll create meaningful and lasting change. Tragic optimism, post-pandemic eudaimonia, happiness and equality. Thank you for listening. Bye now.